Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. And tonight's Raw was from the Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. And this was Raw's go-home show for WrestleMania, which WrestleMania is this Sunday. And before I start the Raw review, just want to say that tomorrow night, there will be no SmackDown review. Actually, going back to work tomorrow, and yes, I worked during the holidays, got my job, and then they laid me off because I was only working for seasonal. I was laid off for 3 months, and then tomorrow, I got a call from them last week saying if I wanted to come back, and I said yes, and I'm going back. Like I said, I'm going back to work tomorrow, so I'm really excited for that. So the SmackDown review is going to be postponed, maybe for later in the week, this week. So, yeah, I just wanted to announce that. But for Raw's go-home show for WrestleMania, I gotta say, I thought tonight's Raw was a enjoyable show. It wasn't great or perfect by any means. We did have a few matches that were garbage, but all in all, aside from some garbage that was on the show tonight, I found it enjoyable. I found Raw enjoyable tonight. So, but yes, let's get on with the review. So Raw opened up tonight with Stephanie McMahon coming out, and she ends up saying that, of course, we are 6 days away from WrestleMania, and the main event is going to be a triple threat match, and it's going to get much better. She ends up playing a April Fool's joke on everyone in the crowd, announcing that she is going to be put into the match. Which, like I said, she April Fooled everybody because, of course, today is April Fool's Day. So, as she says, when Ronda faces Charlotte and Becky, all titles will be on the line. She says one woman will bring home all the gold, and at this Sunday at WrestleMania, it's winner takes all. And so that was Stephanie's announcement. That's going to be a winner takes all match, which kind of doesn't make sense because Becky doesn't have a title. It's just going to be it's Ronda with the Raw title, and then Charlotte just won the SmackDown Women's title last week. So yeah, to me, in my opinion, it doesn't make any sense. Considering that Ronda and Charlotte both have titles and Becky doesn't. So. But yeah, that was the announcement that Stephanie made. And so we went from that, and then Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman, they ended up coming out. Paul Heyman says Brock is going to win and take everything Seth Rollins has to offer, both in the ring and in life in general. So Heyman ends up talking about how Lesnar took Roman's hopes and dreams last year, when we all thought, his victory was accomplished. And Paul Heyman says Seth will be just the same, like how Roman was last year. So Paul Heyman says Sunday will be for those of us who watch car races for the crashes, and football for the riots, and watch hockey for the fights, for the fight-in. because he ends up saying Brock is going to violate Seth Rollins and desecrate WrestleMania. And he goes on to say, and then with a foot on his chest and a towel high above his head. And he ends up saying Lesnar will define the saying that life is what you make out of it, because he and Brock will go out to dinner after and discuss what's next. And so Seth Rollins ends up coming out. He ends up saying Lesnar can't come in here, and he's making demands and pushing everybody around. He says he doesn't understand that nobody wants Brock here, and ends up saying not him, not the locker room, and certainly not the fans. So Seth ends up saying we are all sick and tired of Brock Lesnar. And Seth goes on to say, winning on Sunday night might be improbable, but it's not impossible. And Seth says on Sunday he'll beat Lesnar and take the Universal Championship, and there's not a damn thing he can do about it. Which, of course, speaking to Paul Heyman. And so we see Lesnar, he's smiling at Rollins, and Lesnar ends up stepping through Rollins, bumping into Rollins with his shoulder, and we just see Seth ends up kicking Lesnar, throwing punches. Brock comes back, ends up German suplexing Rollins, and he's stumbling, Rollins. He's trying to get Rollins, he's trying to hit the F5 on Rollins. Rollins ends up slipping out of it and ends up hitting a low blow to Lesnar. And then we see Rollins ends up hitting the stomp to Lesnar. And that's pretty much how the segment ended. But it was okay segment. And then we saw Charlie Caruso, which Charlie Caruso tonight, she was a very busy woman tonight with the interviews. A lot of interviewing that she did tonight. So Charlie Caruso interviews Seth Rollins backstage, and Seth says Lesnar had it coming, and that Seth is not a champion yet. And so that was the interview with Seth. It was short. Then we had the first match. It was an 8-woman tag team match. Beth Phoenix, Natalya, Sasha Banks, and Bayley versus Peyton, Royce, Billie Kay, the Iconics, Nia Jax, and Tamina. This was, your typical women's match. Wasn't great or perfect by any means, though. But you had a rare appearance from Peyton, Royce, and Billie Kay. With like Charlotte and Becky, being on Raw. Rey Mysterio was on Raw tonight. You could tell that WWE is going to be ending this this brand split. You could tell. But we saw in the match Beth Phoenix. She still had it. We saw her last week, and she still has it. She ended up taking down Tamina. She ended up driving Tamina through the barricade. And the end of the match, Beth Phoenix ended up hitting the Glam Slam on Peyton Royce to score the win for her, Natalya, Sasha, and Bayley. So, all in all, it was a typical women's match. Wasn't great or perfect by any means. And then we had Batista come out. This was, of course, in his hometown, Washington, D.C. So he comes out, Spotlight is on him. He ends up not saying anything while he's in the ring, but he ends up rolling a video package of him and Triple H, of all the the matches that they had back then. And then when that was over, Batista ends up saying, he ends up telling Triple H, he ends up saying, "Hunter, kiss my ass." And that's how it ended. It was very short. Batista didn't really say much. So. Then we had Elias. He was in front of MetLife Stadium. It was a filmed segment that he did outside MetLife Stadium. He ends up saying that his performance Sunday will have no interruptions. Yeah, I highly doubt that. There will be some interruptions. Hopefully, hopefully on Sunday we don't get 4 segments of Elias. Just trying to do his performance. I hope we don't get that. I hope they don't overkill us with Elias. But he ends up saying Sunday he will have no interruptions. Highly fucking doubt that. And he says he can hear the chants right now. And, he's singing a few bars of, "Oh, Walk with Elias." And he ends up mentioning, Seven Nation Army, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Bruce Springsteen, saying that they've all played here. And he says, after Sunday, nobody will talk about them, because it'll be all about Elias. Yeah, okay. Yes, Elias will be having some interruptions. I'm calling it right now. So. Then we had this was just really random out of nowhere. The next match, it was Apollo Crews versus Jinder Mahal, and it was a lumberjack match because you had I guess all the guys who were competing in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal on Sunday at WrestleMania. They were surrounding the ring. It was just a bunch of jobbers surrounding the ring. But this really was a nothing match. Apollo Crews end up winning the match. So, and then we had, after the match, we saw everybody who are possibly competing in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. They end up starring the brawl. It was just that. So, moving on. Sorry about that. I was saying, moving on after, Apollo Crews versus Jinder Mahal lumberjack match. Like I said, it was a nothing match, in my opinion. Then we had Kurt Angle end up coming out. And originally, it was going to be Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio tonight. But didn't end up happening. So Kurt Angle ends up coming out and says this is his last night ever on Raw. He says he wants us to know how appreciative he is. He ends up thanking us. He's like, "Oh, whether you cheered me or booed me, he was appreciative. He was always appreciative." And so the WWE ends up creating a very good video package of Kurt Angle, highlighting Kurt Angle's career, which was very good. It was a very enjoyable, really well done video package showcasing highlights from Kurt Angle's career. Of course, you had, when Kurt Angle wore the cowboy hat, with Stone Cold Steve Austin in that promo, and when Kurt Angle was singing, the Jimmy Crack Corn, I don't care, which that's one of my favorite moments. Showed when he wore the toupee or the wig to cover up his bald head when Edge shaved it at Judgment Day 2002, when Edge ended up shaving Kurt Angle. They had a hair versus hair match, which I remember that. I remember like the events leading up to that match where Kurt Angle ended up cutting some of Edge's hair off. That was on a SmackDown. I remember before Judgment Day. But it was just a very great video package. Very well done. Highly enjoyable, and really liked it. WWE did a great job with it. And after the video package was over, the crowd was chanting, "Thank you, Kurt." Kurt Angle was very emotional in the ring after watching that. And then we had Baron Corbin. Boring Baron Corbin comes out. He ends up saying that he apologizes for interrupting. And he says that video should have been in black and white because it's ancient history. He ends up saying the man in the video isn't the one standing in the ring. Corbin says the guy in the ring struggles to take his jacket off, skis down the ramp, and can't go 2 minutes without huffing and puffing. And he says Kurt Angle can't go with the superstars of today because they're just plain better. Especially him. And Corbin ends up getting irritated with all of us saying Kurt deserves somebody better as his last opponent. How everybody doesn't want Corbin to be Kurt Angle's last opponent. And yeah, we didn't want Baron Corbin and Kurt Angle. WWE had a perfect opportunity to give us Kurt Angle and maybe John Cena as Kurt Angle's final opponent. It should have been that. WWE missed that opportunity. So I can't believe they're still going with Corbin and Kurt Angle. Man, that match is going to be boring at WrestleMania Sunday. I can tell you that now. And yeah, speaking of Baron Corbin, he has a match tonight, which we'll get to. And it was the main event. And my God. So Corbin says you need to forget the man in the video, because the last you'll see of him is a broken down old man lying flat on his back in the middle of the ring on Sunday. So Kurt Angle says he and Corbin will square off on Sunday. And Kurt goes on to say, since this is my last night on Raw, why not have an exhibition match right now? And so we see Corbin ends up heading to the ring. He ends up getting on the apron. Ends up stepping back down. Wanting nothing to do with Kurt Angle. Says that, that the old Kurt Angle intensity. And he's like, where's the intelligence? He says if they wrestle now, Kurt Angle won't make it to Sunday. And Corbin ends up saying, we'll just wait until WrestleMania. And so Rey Mysterio ends up coming out and he says someone definitely needs to teach Corbin a lesson in respect. And Mysterio says on behalf of Kurt Angle, he wants to throw down with Corbin instead. Corbin ends up saying that he's not going to do it, and so he ends up cheap shotting Mysterio. And Kurt Angle ends up going for the German suplex. Sorry about that, but I was saying Kurt Angle ends up going for the German suplex to Baron Corbin. Corbin ends up reversing it. Mysterio ends up hitting a diving senton to Corbin. And that leads to Kurt Angle ends up hitting the angle slam on Corbin. And Corbin ends up getting out of the ring, run up the ramp. So, and that's how the segment ended. But I thought this was a very enjoyable segment with Kurt Angle, since this is his final Raw. This is his last night. This was his last night ever on Raw. And that video package was very, like I said, was very well done. I loved it, showcasing highlights from Kurt's career. A lot of great memories from watching those clips in that video package. Some of the moments I remember growing up, watching Kurt Angle's matches. Because I've always been a Kurt Angle fan, ever since I was a kid. But yeah, it was an enjoyable segment. Then we had Charlie Caruso. She ends up interviewing Charlotte about her concern about having to put her title on the line Sunday. So Charlotte ends up saying on Sunday, the whole world is going to be blindsided when she breaks Becky's leg and taps Ronda Rousey out. She ends up saying before Stephanie had to change the match because she changed the game. And she says she's going to win the match and take it all home. She says she is a professional, not a hothead or loose cannon. She ends up saying after the match tonight, Rousey and Ronda and Becky better stay the hell away from her, or they won't make it to WrestleMania. So that was the interview with Charlotte. And then we had the Revival versus Ricochet and Aleister Black for the Raw Tag Team Championship. And this was an entertaining match. This was a decent, enjoyable match. Very entertaining, back and forth between them. Ricochet and Aleister, impressive. Although this match didn't make sense because they put the Raw Tag Team Championships on the line when Ricochet and Aleister Black are competing at NXT TakeOver New York on Friday for the NXT Tag Team Championships, because they won the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. So they're taking on the War Raiders on Friday at NXT TakeOver New York. So it wouldn't make any sense if they had Ricochet and Aleister win the Raw Tag Team Championships tonight. So it wouldn't have made any sense if Ricochet and Aleister would have won the Raw Tag Team Championships tonight. But the Revival ended up getting the win by count out because I think it was Dash Wilder. He ended up holding on to Ricochet's leg, because I think it was Dash Wilder was underneath the ring, and he was holding on to Ricochet's leg. So the Revival win by count out. They retained the Raw Tag Team Championships, which we all knew was going to happen. So after the match, Aleister Black ends up hitting the Black Mass on both Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson. Then we saw Ricochet ends up hitting the 630 on on Scott Dawson. So, and that's what happened after the match. But overall, the match itself, it was very enjoyable. It was an entertaining match, and I liked it. Then we saw Charlie Caruso. She was interviewing Ronda Rousey. Ronda was, we saw her shadow boxing. She ends up saying to Charlie Caruso that she's not in the mood to talk, and she doesn't care what stipulations the McMahons put into place for the main event match at WrestleMania. She says WrestleMania is going to be Judgment Day for Becky and Charlotte. So that was what Ronda said to Charlie Caruso. Then it was, we saw Alexa Bliss backstage. She was backstage with Tyler Breeze and EC3. Yes, EC3 was here on Raw tonight. He was just standing there with Tyler Breeze. So they didn't make EC3, do this, or having a Windex standing near a mirror. So Alexa says, what a great job she's doing hosting WrestleMania. And Tyler and EC3 end up putting Colin, Jost, and Michael Che over. And so then we see Braun Strowman ends up coming up and says, what are they laughing at? Braun asks, Tyler Breeze and EC3, what are they laughing at? And they say, that their friends over there were watching last week's Weekend Update. Because, of course, Michael Che, Colin, Jost, they do Weekend Update on SNL. I think they've been doing that for like 2 years now. So I remember it used to be the last person to do Weekend Update was Seth Meyers. So after Seth Meyers left SNL, that's when they brought in Michael Che and Colin Jost to do Weekend Update. And so we see Braun Strowman. He ends up walking off. He goes to confront these jobber guys down the hallway, and says to them that that either they can meet him in the ring tonight, or they can just meet him backstage and get these hands. And Braun Strowman ends up calling these jobbers, think of it as Michael Che and Colin Jost. So pretty much that was basically the other segment that happened. Sorry about that, but after that, we saw Roman Reigns. He was being interviewed, and Roman addresses rumors that he's not saying that he's not ready for singles competition, and he ends up blaming them on Drew McIntyre, saying that Drew McIntyre doesn't know anything about him. And so then we see McIntyre ends up blindsiding Roman and beats him down. And we just see and hear, Drew yelling at Roman, saying that, oh, he should have said no. You should have said no, Roman. So we're going to get Roman versus Drew McIntyre Sunday at WrestleMania. So I basically know that Roman's going to win Sunday. Then we had Charlie Caruso. She was interviewing Becky Lynch. Becky says this Sunday she is walking out as the Raw and SmackDown Women's Champion. And she says she knows Charlotte likes to run her mouth. Sorry about that again. Keep getting interrupted. So, but Becky says, she knows Charlotte likes to run her mouth, and she says, as for Ronda, she beat her months ago when she triggered her God complex. And when she feels untouchable, she's most beatable. She ends up saying, so tonight, they're forcing her to tag with them and hoping she loses her cool so they can kick her out of the match. And she ends up saying, but she's wise to their game. Becky says she knows the only way to make sure they can't sink her after WrestleMania is to take home all the gold. And the other two might talk about how they want to make history. She says, well, she has no choice but to make history. So then she came out. Then we had the match, which was a 6-woman tag team match. Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte versus the Riott Squad. Which was an okay match. I'm like, that towards the end of the match, Ronda, Becky, and Charlotte, or during the match, they're not, all three of them are not going to get along. So, but Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte end up getting the win. Ronda ended up blocking in the armbar on Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan ended up tapping out. Then we saw after the match, and this is, in my opinion, another one of the best segments to happen on Raw tonight. This was the best part. So after the match, we saw all three women, Ronda, Becky, and Charlotte. They ended up brawling. All three of them. Security had to come down to break it up. And so Ronda, Becky, and Charlotte end up fighting the security off. So we not only got security, we got the Washington D.C. police. They end up coming to the ring. Sorry about that, but we had the Washington D.C. police, which they're not policemen. They're they're indie wrestlers portraying police. You gotta look at it. So the police end up coming. Ronda ends up attacking them, and she ends up getting handcuffed. And so the cops, they're trying to hold Becky back. Becky ends up booting Ronda, and Becky ends up getting handcuffed also. And Charlotte's just there. She's just watching. Looks like because she's the third wheel in all this. Before she even won the SmackDown Women's Championship. She was like the third wheel in this. That's what WWE wants to put Charlotte in this. So Charlotte ends up attacking Becky Lynch, and Charlotte ends up getting handcuffed. And what was really funny was when Becky ended up getting handcuffed, she was like, again? It was funny how she said it. Though she was like, again? So, like I said, Charlotte ends up getting handcuffed. Then, we follow all three women backstage. They end up getting put into the police cars. And what was really funny was Becky and Ronda are in the back seat. The both of them are in the back seat, and then they just start kicking each other. And Ronda ends up kicking. They end up kicking the back. They end up kicking each other in the back of the cop car. Ronda ends up kicking the window out of the back seat. Glass, goes everywhere, shatters, goes everywhere where the camera was, and the cops end up having no choice but to pull them, out of the car. And we see them, they're still fighting. We see Ronda ends up getting up into the car, into the front seat, drives into another cop car, and we see Charlotte ends up kicking Ronda in her head, and the cops end up managing to drive off. So, but it was a crazy brawl. It was a very crazy brawl. I enjoyed it, and WWE did something right here to get you hyped up for the main event of WrestleMania with these three women. And it paid off. So, WWE, you did something right. You managed to hype us up for the main event. And, you know, that's how you do it. So, but it was a very crazy brawl. It was awesome. And, you know, I liked it. It was enjoyable. Got you hyped up for the main event for WrestleMania. Then after that, we had Heavy Machinery versus Bobby Roode and Chad Gable tag team match. A pretty fun match. I like Heavy Machinery, Ostozovic and Tucker Knight. And Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, they did fine here. Heavy Machinery ended up getting the win. Ended up hitting the compactor on Chad Gable to score the win. So overall, it was a fun match. Then we had Braun Strowman versus the Jobbers, as he calls them, Colin, Jost, and Michael Che, in a handicap match. This was a handicap match. And basically this was just a squash match. It was a squash match. Braun Strowman doing his things. Shoulder tackles. Power slams. Braun Strowman won it. End up decimating both of these jobber guys with a double run and power slam. That was it. Braun Strowman ended up winning it. It was a squash match. Then we had Charlie Caruso. She was interviewing Bobby Lashley about, Finn Balor becoming the #1 contender to for his Intercontinental Championship. And Leo Rush ends up answering for Lashley, asking if Charlie Caruso is serious. He ends up calling last week a fluke. And he says on Sunday, Lashley isn't going to have to deal with dead weight Jinder Mahal, which he said, with dead weight Jinder Mahal. And he says their only concern is where the after party will be. He also asks about the rumors about the demon showing up. And Lashley says, if you think he's scared of some Irish fairy tale, you're out of your mind. And so we get Finn Balor on the Titantron and says he'd show some concern if he was Lashley. And he says at WrestleMania, his demon will be Lashley's nightmare. And we see, the screen, the Titantron screen fills with fog, and it shows Balor as the demon. And it shows him hissing at the camera and sticking out his tongue. But it was awesome how the way they did it. And so this confirms that Finn Balor as the demon is confirmed for WrestleMania. Sorry about that, but like I said, the demon is confirmed at WrestleMania. So that's gonna be awesome to see. I mean, we haven't seen Finn Balor as the demon since SummerSlam last year when he took on Baron Corbin. So. Then we go to the main event, which was Baron Corbin versus Rey Mysterio. And this main event sucked. This match sucked. Baron Corbin was boring that that crowd. The crowd was really quiet. You saw some people get up and leave. Yes, that's how bad this match was. And there's concerns that during this match, Rey Mysterio might look like he's injured, might be injured. But well, what a lame match this was. This was lame. If I was booking the show, I would have put the Ronda, Becky, and Charlotte brawl as the end to the show. They could have had Corbin and Mysterio go maybe in when the third hour came on, like 10 o'clock. So this did not need to be the main event. But Baron Corbin ended up getting the win. Deep 6 on Rey Mysterio. That was it. Did you care? No. I didn't care. So, after the match, you had Kurt Angle. He ends up coming out. Ends up locking in the ankle lock on Baron Corbin. Referee had to come out and make Kurt Angle take off the ankle lock on Corbin. So that's how Raw ended tonight. And plus, after that, they showed a recap of Ronda, Becky, and Charlotte, that brawl that ensued. Which, like I said, if I was booking the show tonight, I would have had that brawl and Raw tonight, and and make the show go off the air awesome with hype for WrestleMania. But no, what a horrible match. What a horrible main event to end Raw's go home show for Mania. We had an enjoyable show. We had enjoyable matches. Some of them were garbage, but to end it with Corbin and Mysterio in a boring match, it was terrible. It was a terrible match. But anyways, that's it for this video. That's it for my Monday Night Raw review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. And thank you all for watching. And give this video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. And as for the SmackDown review, for SmackDown's go home show for WrestleMania, it will probably be up later this week, but not tomorrow night. So that will be the next video. So who knows when SmackDown review will be up. Hopefully I can get it up by this week. And I am going to WrestleMania Access on Friday, going at 1 o'clock, the afternoon session. So I'm really looking forward to going to Access. It's the first time I'm ever going. Seeing a lot of people's videos on YouTube of when they go to WrestleMania Access every year, and it looks like fun. You got the Superstore there. You get to wait in line to meet some superstars, which I know they could be very long, and you could be waiting there for like an hour. So, but want to check out Access. It's going to be at the Brooklyn Cruise Terminal. I think Brooklyn Cruise Terminal 12, I think it's called. So yeah, I know it's going to be in the Brooklyn Cruise Terminal in Red Hook. So I will be there. So, but looking forward to it. And there will be I will be doing a vlog. So anyways, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all later.